liabilities, creditors have taken over assets, property. We also know that most banks rent, but accounting standards allow them to show the long-term assets on the balance sheet as assets. It does not make them the owners. The less about the hidden assets, the better. Why the surprise that you're recovering less than 2 billion out of 25 billion? Well, if you listen to them too, there's 25 billion is not what they're seeking to recover. And Eric Nana Nipa clearly explained that he has control over recovering 11.6 billion. And he has some 5 billion or so to recover. Okay, I've got a number of your messages, and I'm trying to share them as we have to spend just small time on this matter of the national security and its seeking to reform itself. Now, a banking consultant says, I partly blame the auditors who signed off the financials as true and fair when giving the same asset to say they were overhauled by who? Who gave the assurance to the shareholders? And then one of the people also behind one of these institutions that is affected also wanted Eric Nana Nipa to answer where he's getting his power from to talk about he referring matters to IOCO. And then he shows me provisions of the law which he feels, if complied with, will suggest that he is not acting within the law. He quotes one provision where it says, where a receiver has sufficient reason to believe that shareholders, directors, officers, attorneys, accountants, or other professionals have engaged or are engaging in a criminal or fraudulent activity in relation to the business of a bank or a specialized deposit-taking institution, that receiver shall A, notify the Bank of Ghana immediately, and B, institute a civil action to claim damages and restitution. Yes, so how is he talking about referring matters to the IOCO? Well, he also explained that IOCO has started even long before they came in. And then Kofi wanted an explanation as to the breakdown of the, he says, because government cannot be putting figures out there without a breakdown. For example, how much of the 25 billion has been paid to the depositors? Of course, I'm sure that came in before Eric Nana Nipa gave us the explanations that he gave. This very final batch of messages that I'll read. Big Boss says, yes, the banking system is stable today with better balance sheets, liquidity, etc. What, however, is true also is that the owners of these banks got richer and more secure now than they were 4 years back, while the Ghanaian taxpayer got the short end of the stick. Frederick Reynolds says the cost of the whole cleanup exercise is inadequate enough to have sustained these institutions. Whatever asset tracing and everything involved in the liquidation processes could have been done without collapsing the institutions. We just cost people jobs, keke. Okay. Fritz McLean Jones says, when shall we be serious as a country? It's like we have given a bad name to these banks just to hang them on the cross. Using our scarce resources to pay these depositors is far below the belt. Our country needs serious-minded people to steer affairs for better Ghana. Dr. Charles Rekubrobe says, can the Bank of Ghana and the government give a full account of expenditure of the 25 billion bailout funds and explain why some citizens are still unpaid? And I think that is a big question that is crying for answers. I think a better approach is for the Bank of Ghana to go before the committee and raise and argue the legal points that it has raised through its lawyers, and that is coming from a lawyer. A very final one: the receiver sought for Iyoko's assistance not long ago, early 2020. They haven't spent too much time yet. As many as 11 dockets out of 20 prime defaulting companies are being dealt with. So this is information coming from reliable sources at the Iyoko that 11 dockets out of 20 prime defaulting companies are at the Attorney General's, and prosecutions should start soon. We take a very final break, and okay, right. So this show is brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group and close as a partner. MTN everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. DBS Industries, Robert & Sons Optical Services, seeing is believing. Waylead, home is where one starts from. Star Assurance, that is your solid partner. We've run out of time, but let's see if we can spend just some 5 minutes with Kweku to give us a little view of what he knows about the accusation that the national security has come under, particularly with the Asankregwa matters, where they have been seen in the CCTV footage. They are hooded, they are masked, and they are holding guns in the open. At a time when the national security is promising to reform. Yes, Kweku.
Yeah, well, this document is quite a comprehensive one, and I'm not sure we can interrogate it today.
Yes, so I have left that out for now.
That's right. But there's something that I found quite interesting, and I hear you say that a lot. Maybe today you must clarify it for me. The question about hooded operatives, and based on the recommendation of the Short Commission. I'm not too sure if the Short Commission's recommendation was to the effect that national security operations can never involve masked or hooded operatives. I'm not sure that's what the report
to avoid identification. To avoid a situation where they cannot be identified.
No, if you read the report carefully, and I'll just take one portion, even though they have three here, where the references are made operational. It says, the Commission recommends that no masked or hooded men should be used for civilian policing, especially in electoral policing or the execution of intelligence contingent or connected with any ongoing elections in Ghana. You got the point? The emphasis, it's obvious that they were recommending, recommending the use of hooded or masked operatives in election-related security. And that's obvious. Elections are transparent, open, accountable. And so if you're going to use masked men or hooded men, or operatives rather, let's put it that way, because some could be women, you clearly are violating the recommendation made here. And it doesn't even make sense. You didn't even need this recommendation to realize that that's not the right approach.
Okay.
Yeah, but other operations, dependent on the nature of the operation, you can have masked operatives. For instance, the City FM invasion, you didn't need masked people. Everybody knows that. Now, this Chinese one, if you look at the items that eventually were even seized, sex pump action guns, 8 cartridges, you know, one sidearm. Then I don't know if you are aware that they had a secret gold refinery. I don't know if you've seen the pictures.
I have sat in court processes. I just went to court to do my business, and I chanced on it just yesterday.
See,
and the state has been questioned that all these claims, it has not brought a single evidence to show the court, not even a picture. The pictures that you have, which have been shown in the public.
I'm surprised because it shouldn't be a difficulty.
Yeah,
See,
I'm surprised.
I'm surprised. These are all, and they took inventory. The Chinese signed it.
Yeah.
All these things are here. I don't know what stage the court proceeding is because it ought to come. If you don't take these items that the Chinese inventory that they themselves signed, you can't win the case. Then it means that the prosecution is being...
It's at a process of bail, the fight over bail.
Yeah, but you are the right. So tell me, would there be a stage where they will have to provide the evidence? Or at this stage, they need to provide this evidence? These are clear-cut evidence. This is the secret gold refinery. And mercury. They had a lot of mercury, which they were using to actually refine gold. Obviously, gold from illegal operations, and not from any regularized operation. Okay? So I have no difficulty dependent on the nature of the operation. Look, sometimes even the hooded person, I've seen only one hooded person, though the others were not hooded, could have been a plant in there, could have been a sleeper. So if you are going with him on operation, you cover his identity so that he's not identified as the one who might have been dealing with them previously. But I tell you something, and that's why this document perhaps we should take a critical look at. Look, there is some problem with our security architecture. You know, the national security operatives who went there clashed with immigration officers there. All the Chinese, none of them is legal immigrant. All of them, some have been here since 2012, 2013.
Without any documentation?
Nothing at all. And national security, the intelligence that had been forwarded to the divisional police and divisional immigration, none was endorsed as authentic. So that is why national security decided to do the operation itself. But of course, the assault on the immigration officers, you can't take, you cannot endorse or rationalize or justify. And the journalists too, you can't. You see, that's part of the orientation. So you go there, you don't, two state institutions, why do you clash? You should be collaborating.
Unless there are personal benefits.
Exactement.
Which is at conflict.
Exactement. And it had been going on for a while. Intelligence being picked was showing that these Chinese guys and their Ghanaian collaborators were doing a criminal operation activity.
Refining gold.
They were refining gold. The pictures are here. It's
without
also video.
license.
Yes. And they had mercury. Where did they get it from?
When does this happen?
So I am happy it's in court. I'll be shocked if this evidence, which is both pictorial and video, are not presented to the court. Then prosecution is being deliberately done in a negative way in order to let somebody have an escape route. I'm sorry to do this speculation. It's not the best.
Okay.
But I'm shocked that they are in court and this evidence is not there. Maybe it's premature. Let me hold my fire.
The question came up yesterday, and it was a very important question that was brought to the judge's attention by the lawyers for the Chinese and the states. The states had been ordered, because of certain failures, they had been ordered to bring the suspects to the courtroom, and they didn't bring them. And then they were suggesting that they are not respecting the orders of the court.
See,
my outfit, as always, outfit, as always, is by Habil's Couture. Habil's Couture is doing a special Father's Day special package. So you get your wonderful dad a beautiful kaftan for as low as 350 Ghana cedis. Habil's Couture is located at Adringano, opposite Villa David, and the contact is 020-084-1988. Take the number now. Don't call me after the show. 020-084-1988. You can also use Habil's Couture to look for them in the social media handles. Yes. No, you wanted to say something.
One of the exhibits, 7 excavator control boards. You hear people say, they've taken the boards away so you can't move them. Seven of them are part of the exhibits.
Okay.
So you can see.
They were with this Chinese?
Yeah, yes, and it's part of the inventory. They signed onto it. They signed on to it. Those things should be sent to the court of law. Otherwise, somebody wants to do buga prosecution.
This has been Newsfile. I'm Samson Ladi Ayenini, and thank you all so very much. Kweku Baako, Kofi Bento, Dr. Richmond Etiahene, and also Dr. Kwame Esiedu Sapong, as well as Eric Nananipa. Thank you all so very much. Have a good afternoon.